I don't think anybody wants them, Bruce.
Okay.
I'm being honest.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
the Raiders passed them down Brady.
Yeah, I know, but it's different circumstances now, Tony.
Well,
the
they got
Raiders thought
tickets
Geno
now.
Smith. Wait. The Raiders
They got
thought Geno.
tickets.
The Raiders thought Geno Smith could play, and he can't. So for a 4th-round pick or 5th-round pick, you take a flyer on a guy. You don't think anybody would do that.
I don't, Bruce.
Okay.
I don't.
Okay.
I mean, they
Why
when they
would
needed
no
one, they
why
asked
would
for
no one-
tickets.
Why would no one want?
Oh, you're gonna love this one. Picture it. The Browns owner lounging in his luxury suite, latte in hand, when suddenly his face drops like he just saw the franchise's future vanish. Why? Because viewership has plummeted faster than a lead balloon. And the reason's simple. Shedeur Sanders. Yes, that Shedeur just got benched for Dillon Gabriel. Now the fans are losing it, the memes are multiplying by the minute, and social media, it's a 5-alarm meltdown. Buckle up. This drama's just getting started.
So the NFL is reporting that viewership is down since that Panthers-Browns game that did over 4 million views, 4 million households. It further pushes the conversation that Shedeur Sanders is box office. I never spoke about anybody as much as I speak about this young man because he is a generational talent, and you have to be old enough to know what generational talent is.
If you're enjoying, please subscribe Shedeur Sanders to the channel. It helps more than you think. The Cleveland Browns just made a move so wild, it could give reality TV writers a run for their money. Picture this. You've got Shedeur Sanders, a budding superstar with swagger, charisma, and a fan base that treats every snap like an event. And you decide, let's go with Dillon Gabriel instead. In that moment, football logic didn't just falter. It straight up quit the job, grabbed its suitcase, and vanished without leaving a forwarding address.
Had some jokes, we had some puns about the statement that Dillon Gabriel made, but we really didn't pay attention to what he said. Any of the interviews that we have watched with Dillon Gabriel talking about his position or whatever, it is very clear to see that his media training is extremely different than Shedeur's. It is very flat, very monotone. He is a minimalist when it comes to conversation. He is rarely animated, and it's pretty basic engagement.
The second that decision went public, you could almost hear TVs across Cleveland powering down in perfect unison. Fans who once screamed "Dog Pound" were suddenly searching, what channel shows pickleball? Because at least in pickleball, nobody benches their star player out of pure confusion. The vibe shifted fast, from hype to heartbreak, all thanks to one baffling call.
We'll make sure we do everything we can to make sure Dillon ready for the game, so, whatever that means. So each and every day, even when Joe was the starter, everything, prepare the right way and be ready to know that you could get out there at any point in time. So, I'm overly confident within myself. So I know when I first got here, I'm ready to play. But, it's up to the coaches and, whatever decision, they make then.
Shedeur was supposed to be the Browns' golden ticket, a quarterback with swagger, star power, and enough charisma to make Sundays must-watch again. But somehow Cleveland seems allergic to excitement. It's like the moment they spotted a little spark, they hit the panic button. Wait, people are actually entertained? Can't have that. Bench him before the fans start having fun. Classic Browns logic at work.
And Myles Garrett had wonderful things to say about Shedeur Sanders in an interview yesterday, just basically talking about how hard he works, how prepared he is, how he takes the initiative to meet with Coach Kevin Stefanski on a daily basis, seemingly, in his office to make sure he's on top of the plays. Followed by Denzel Ward and Jerry Jeudy also having high praise for Shedeur Sanders, all three echoing that Shedeur Sanders.
And then came Dillon Gabriel. A solid guy, sure, but let's be honest. This move felt less like strategy and more like someone trying to prove a point at the expense of the fan base's sanity. If football was a movie, this was the moment the audience started throwing popcorn at the screen. The Browns owner reportedly looked stunned when viewership numbers came crashing down. Stunned as if this was unpredictable. Really? You take out the quarterback fans, actually. Want to see the one driving excitement in Jersey, sales, and you're surprised that nobody wants to watch the replacement. Fumble through 3 quarters like a confused substitute teacher? It's almost poetic how predictable it was. The Browns' marketing team probably had a big rollout planned. You could practically feel the PR team sweating bullets, trying to spin the narrative. No, this is part of a bigger plan, they said. But the only plan anyone could see was Operation Tank the ratings. Even rival teams started feeling bad. One exec reportedly said, watching the Browns implode was like watching someone argue with a vending machine after it eats their $social.
Qualities, and he's beloved in the community. That's why a lot of this is, happening right now. Because a lot of people don't understand. He's beloved in the community, and as long as he's beloved in the community, he's gonna have the biggest fan base. It's your boy Iceman. Tell me what you think.
Social media turned into a digital battlefield. Fans who'd sworn lifelong loyalty suddenly declared emotional free agency. Memes of Shedeur sitting calmly on the bench spread faster than actual game highlights. Some fans said they'd rather watch reruns of last season's losses, because at least those still had shatter in them. Meanwhile, Shedeur handled it like a pro. Cool, composed, and probably wondering what parallel universe he just landed in. The guy's got the poise of someone who knows this movie ends with him as the comeback hero, while everyone else scrambles for excuses. Because let's face it, if there's one thing the Browns love more than chaos, it's realizing way too late that they had the answer sitting right in front of them. It's wild how fast the excitement around the team evaporated. Just a few weeks ago, you couldn't scroll 5 minutes online without seeing Shedeur highlights. The kid had become Cleveland's most exciting thing since LeBron's first stint. But now, the Browns are trending again, just not in the way anyone wanted. Instead of Cleveland rising, it's Cleveland imploding now in HD.
If everything goes right, Dylan Gabriel plays start to finish on Sunday. That's got to be the goal. The goal is for Dylan Gabriel to be the only quarterback that you see. It was funny what you said like earlier last segment. It's like, oh, another wrinkle in there where you got Shedeur, and I'm like, I don't think Shedeur is going to see the field at all. And so I've made my watching for this week, and really until the foreseeable future, around the idea that Dylan Gabriel's the starting quarterback, and that is what it is.
Is that setting the expectations low so that if it happens, you can then just be excited?
No, I'm going to give Dylan Gabriel the chance to win the job, and I'm going to give Stefanski the chance to prove us why he thinks he's right in this scenario.
You can practically picture the owner in the press box, watching empty seats multiply like bad decisions. Each camera cut to the stands looked like a ghost town sponsored by regret. And somewhere deep down, he must have realized Shedeur wasn't just a quarterback. He was a marketing department, a storyline, a reason for fans to care. Drop him, and you drop everything that made the franchise remotely interesting. But the Browns, being the Browns, seem committed to their favorite hobby, testing the limits of how much pain their fans can endure before switching allegiance to another team entirely. If this was a social experiment, it's working. Cleveland fans are now experts in heartbreak and sarcasm. The funniest part? The league executives probably love it. Every sports channel is eating this drama up. Ratings for the Browns may have plummeted, but the memes, the podcasts, and the arguments, those are skyrocketing. You can't create team chemistry when half the squad's afraid to celebrate too hard in case they get benched for smiling wrong. And the fans, bless them, are already staging digital revolts. Some started campaigns demanding Shedeur's return. Others are making parody highlight reels of him warming up, because apparently, that's the only way to see him throw a football these days.
So the news just broke, the news that everybody's been waiting for, it seems like all week long. But head coach Kevin Stefanski for the Browns has confirmed Shedeur Sanders will be the backup quarterback, the QB2, for Sunday's game in Pittsburgh against the Steelers. So Shedeur Sanders, who started the offseason program back in May and June and all training camp as the QB4, now finds himself all the way up at QB2, just a one snap away from seeing the field, and we're only in week 6.
Even rival fans have joined the joke, joking that Cleveland's quarterback decisions are being made by a magic 8-ball. It's honestly incredible how the Browns always find new ways to surprise everyone, usually by doing the exact opposite of what makes sense. At this point, the team's decisions could be studied in psychology textbooks under self-sabotage. Still, If there's one thing NFL history has taught us, it's that chaos doesn't last forever. Eventually, someone upstairs will look at the empty stands, the declining TV deals, and the endless clown emojis flooding their mentions and realize, oh, maybe dropping the star player wasn't the best idea. By then, of course, the damage will be done. The Browns might have just pulled off the greatest unintentional comedy in football history. The team's motto might as well be, if it ain't broke, let's fix it until it is. Because let's face it, this isn't just about a quarterback change. It's about a franchise so desperate to prove it's in control that it forgot football is also about giving fans something to believe in.
A better quarterback than Dillon Gabriel. I've been vocal about that, but like the bet that Shedeur has made is that Dillon's the better quarterback. I'm gonna give Stefanski the chance to go ahead and prove me wrong and show me that he's right.
The offense does need to show progress, by the way. But the number one thing is, to the idea of Dillon could feel any more heat because Shedeur's behind him. I'm sure there's probably part of that because it's the NFL, and I think Dillon is very cognizant of how.
And right now, the only thing Cleveland fans believe in is the power of disappointment. And then, because the NFL loves irony almost as much as it loves chaos, the story flipped overnight. The moment the Browns quietly slipped Shedeur Sanders back into the conversation as QB2, Cleveland transformed from a graveyard of empty seats to the hottest ticket in the league. It was as if the entire city woke up from a football coma and said, wait, Shedeur's back. Hold on, I'm buying 5 tickets right now. Suddenly, those dusty season pass holders who hadn't shown up since 2018 were back in full force, digging out their brown and orange jerseys from the bottom of their closets like they'd just discovered buried treasure. Ticket prices shot up faster than the stock market after a billionaire's tweet. You couldn't find a seat, a parking space, or even a decent scalper with anything left to sell. They call him QB2, but let's be real. He's QB1 in spirit, in vibes, in merchandising, and apparently in ticket revenue too. The Browns versus Steelers matchup became less of a divisional game and more of a Hollywood premiere. You had fans lined up around the stadium like they were waiting to see a Marvel movie. Reporters were elbowing each other just to get a shot of Shedeur warming up. Every flick of his wrist, every smirk under the helmet got broadcast like breaking news. And
they don't care who's number one. The worldwide news right now is 3 is still 3. Why isn't he 2? The world wants to see him get this chance. This reminds me of the Bronny situation. Dillon, you want to be Quincy. He was the one who got that contract. You want to be 3rd. You want Shedeur to go out there and then have a horrible time, and then you come in and have good moments. So you look good. You going out there first, no one's rooting for you. Unless you out this mother perfect. Everything you do is going to be a target. Oh man, look, it was okay. He had 3 turnovers. He did this, and eventually you're going to be getting booed by that Cleveland Browns stadium.
And Dillon Gabriel? Poor guy looked like an understudy rehearsing lines next to the main star, who somehow steals the spotlight just by showing up. Even rival fans couldn't resist the spectacle. Steelers fans, usually the first to mock anything in Cleveland, were caught snapping photos of Shedeur during warm-ups, like tourists spotting a celebrity at the airport. They'll never admit it, of course, but the man's got gravitational pull. It's like the universe temporarily recentered itself around the Browns' sideline. Inside the stadium, the energy was ridiculous. Fans were roaring before the game even started, not because of a touchdown, but because Shedeur jogged onto the field carrying a water bottle. That's it, just hydration. And the place erupted like he'd thrown a 90-yard bomb. People were spending their rent money on seats just to watch the QB2's pregame stretches. The Browns' merchandise sales skyrocketed. Shedeur jerseys, headbands, towels, even those weird foam fingers with his initials on them. Everything with his name flew off shelves like it was a limited edition sneaker drop.
Decided yet if Shedeur is ready to be your number 2 quarterback for this game?
Yeah, Shedeur will be the backup.
You're thinking?
Yeah, like I told you guys on Wednesday, I'm always thinking about our players and what's best for our players, and I want to make sure when it comes to young football players, particularly at the quarterback position, that you are intentional about your decision making, and that's really all it is. So excited for all of our guys.
And the Browns owner, remember that guy who looked like a deer in headlights when the ratings crashed? Suddenly couldn't stop smiling. He was strutting through the stadium tunnels like he'd personally masterminded the comeback. You could almost see the dollar signs in his eyes as he watched the turnstiles spin nonstop. The same man who probably had nightmares of empty bleachers was now bathing in a sea of screaming fans. It's insane how fast the narrative flipped. Just a week ago, Cleveland couldn't give away tickets with free nachos attached. Now, people were reselling nosebleeds for the price of a used car. Even the stadium vendors were struggling to keep up. Beer lines were longer than confession booths after prom night. The entire arena buzzed with the kind of energy usually reserved for playoff runs or Taylor Swift tours. Cleveland's economy hadn't seen this much life since LeBron's return. And then kickoff came, and the crowd reaction to every frame involving Shedeur was pure hysteria. Every camera pan to him on the sideline caused a louder roar than the actual plays.
To see him play, to see if he's good or not. That's just the way it is. No one cares about the rest. It's him, then Myles Garrett at this point. When we're talking about jersey sales, he's number one. At this point, if you're Cleveland, why are you still putting yourself under this guillotine? I understand why. You don't want to make yourself look stupid. We wanted him. We think he's it. He is the proven one. And we don't want you to go out there and perform very well. Makes us look stupid that we picture and fit. So you're fighting an inner fight anyway. There's really nothing you can do. So if you're Shedeur, he's not in the position and say, what the you asking me for? What do I need to do? I don't know. Ask him.
Gabriel could have thrown a touchdown pass, and half the crowd would still be craning their necks toward Shedeur, analyzing whether he clapped enthusiastically enough. When Gabriel threw an incompletion, the chants started. The Browns' PR team, once drowning in excuses, was now sipping champagne in the press box. Suddenly, QB2 looked like the smartest marketing move of the decade. It didn't matter that he wasn't starting. The illusion of his readiness was enough. Fans came for the hope, the possibility, the what if. Because deep down, they all believed that at any moment, the camera might pan to Stefanski, giving that subtle nod. And boom, Shedeur steps in, helmet on, destiny calling. Pittsburgh fans travel well. But this time, they were outnumbered by Cleveland's rebirth of faith. The Browns had rediscovered their heartbeat, and its name was Shedeur. It's like watching a soap opera where the most popular character technically isn't in the episode, but everyone tunes in anyway just in case he makes a cameo. That's Shedeur. He's the walking cliffhanger of the NFL. The kind of player who can turn a routine sideline shot into a viral moment.
Now, I said it from the beginning. Shedeur was number 2 when Joe Flacco got traded. Stefanski, the coach, was just being coy because he didn't want teams to game plan. I said that. I said Shedeur was number 2 already. Y'all were overreacting. A few of you told me that I was dumb and my argument made no sense, but then you see it played out just like that. Here we go. If you see right here, it says that the NFL has deadlines. The teams must by 4 p.m. on Friday give their final roster. Okay? That means that he didn't want to say that Shedeur was already number 2 in the beginning of the week because he didn't want the team that they were playing to know so that they could plan for it, because it might be the case that Shedeur ends up in the game if something happens.
The funniest part? The Browns owner probably thought naming Shedeur QB2 would calm things down. A quiet compromise. A soft re-entry into the depth chart. Instead, it detonated a stadium-sized explosion of hype. He unintentionally turned a football game into a festival. The fans didn't care about strategy. They cared about symbolism. And Shedeur, standing there with his calm confidence and that "I'm ready when you are" grin, symbolized everything Cleveland had been craving. And after the win, because yes, somehow all that chaos turned into victory, the fans refused to leave. They stayed, chanting, singing, waving signs that said things like "In Shedeur we trust" and "QB2 today, QB1 tomorrow." It wasn't about stats anymore. It was about hope, spectacle, and pure entertainment. The Browns might not admit it out loud, but they know exactly what's happening. The idea that sometimes the most electric moments happen before the ball is even snapped. Because with Shedeur, it's not just football, it's a movement. The Browns' attendance didn't just rise, it exploded. Every ticket sold was a vote of faith. Every chant a demand for destiny. And whether he's on the field or not, one thing's clear. Shedeur doesn't just fill stadiums, he fills them with belief. And belief in Cleveland sells better than anything else.